Fantastic, and here we are live on this beautiful, beautiful summer's evening. The sun is shining brightly, and I am delighted to have my dear friend Lorraine Milligan joining me today for the latest in our Powerhouse glimpses ahead of the Powerhouse Global Conference 2025. So, welcome, Lorraine.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so lovely to have you. And I'm going to let everybody into a little secret, because you are the amazing talent behind my incredible LinkedIn profile image, for which I get so many compliments about it. I don't know, I'm going to throw it to you. That image, the story behind it. I mean, there is so much story, isn't there?
There is. I think, how many years do we go back now, Laura?
Gosh, now I'm going to say before all the grey hairs, perhaps. Yeah, gosh, it's got to be 13 years now.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, our story started when I was your hair and makeup artist for your dear wedding, and it was the most beautiful day, wasn't it? And then our story then took a little bit of a turn, and it went from being your best day to probably your most challenging day to date. So, and so we've been through a lot. And I saw you at your lowest, and I've been with you through your journey upwards, and hopefully helped elevate you. And the images, I mean, they shout independence, confidence, authenticity. And the fact is, they're taken in your kitchen as well. And this is the way I like to work. I like to work in people's natural domains, because I think you get the best out of people when they're in an atmosphere that they're very relaxed in.
And that's just it. And just for a little bit of context, we may have gone somewhere other than my kitchen, but we weren't really quite out of the pandemic at that stage, were we? We were still very much finding that. But I still think, I think the way that you naturally create that, I suppose, that space, that ambience, it just feels so aligned, so natural. So you almost you're in at one with it. I suppose is probably how I would describe that feeling from the person being photographed. And I think that's so powerful.
It's a special bond and connection that I build with my clients. I think it's a very personal thing, taking someone's photo. And as a hair and makeup artist, when you're in someone's space as well, it is very personal. You can't get more personal than that, really. So you do build a bond, and a bond of trust. And I get to know my clients, which is really important. So yeah, that's where it starts, really.
No, absolutely. And Lady Anita is saying, yeah, good people help us through our challenge times. Absolutely, spot on. And I think that adds to the depth of the trust, the depth of the relationship, the depth of, it's a collaboration ultimately. I mean, yes, you are the talent to capture it, but if that alignment and that collaboration between two people isn't there, then there is a disconnect. And that's what you are absolutely brilliant at being able to tune into.
Thank you.
And your talent is incredible. But enough of my picture. The story that took you into this world, it's quite a journey that you've been on to get to the point where you're working with image and identity with individuals, and I think it's an incredible one. So, please share.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I actually started my career as a professional dancer. And at 30, I'm now 52, but at 30, I trained as a hair and makeup artist. And I think I got into hair and makeup originally because I wanted to help people and to help build their confidence. I worked in an industry where people would perform on stage and be this alter ego of themselves, and then come off stage and be something a little bit different. And I do love helping people. So I thought this would be a perfect industry to go in. You know, I can create someone's real aesthetic. I can turn that into a story, and photograph and capture my creation that I've created with the hair and makeup. And when I was a hair and makeup artist alone, I was thinking there's something missing. And I craved being an art director. And I thought, well, why don't I art direct my own shoots? Just makes complete sense. So, so it went from the transition from hair and makeup into art direction and photography. And styling, of course, as well, which is very important, getting someone prepared and, you know, in something that complements them, complements their colouring, their features. Again, that's all about making that person feel relaxed, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think that you are brilliant. I mean, the detail to which you go to, I don't know, art direct, to create the scene, to create that whole thing. You know, I mean, the attention to detail you give and sort of like that sort of tuning in to that is absolutely, I mean, you know, second to none. I cannot fault you on that. You know, the things that you think of and the light and everything else to bring somebody to life is incredible. But it, you know, for you, images beyond just the, you know, the basic aesthetics, you know, you use the word, it's an art form almost, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's about, well, I work with natural light, as you know, which is another reason why your kitchen was so perfect. I look for natural light. I love anything to do with nature, and if we've been gifted it, let's use it. So I'm not about the technical side of photography. I'm all about the nature and getting the authentic person. But so when I begin my process, really, I talk to the person, I profile them. That sounds very corporate, doesn't it? Profile. But profile as in get to know them, get to know the character outside their business role. And I forge, you know, very strong and instant connections with people, which I'm really fortunate to say. So it's instant trust. And I like to think I work with intuition and empathy as well.
Yeah, I would absolutely concur with that, without a doubt. You know, you are very intuitive about how the image should be shot, how natural you should feel, and that's very much that collaboration with the person that you're working with. I mean, if I think just to, you know, obviously the work that we did together for, you know, the images in my kitchen, but also the work that we did together for the Future Leaders at the end of last year, and you know how you were looking for the natural light and how it's all very much natural and drawing on actually the ambience of that space. You know, that was very much drawing on the connections and the empathy that you had with the individuals in that space, which, you know, that takes a lot of talent to be able to do that, especially if we didn't give you very much time either. And still you come up and are able to deliver this absolutely brilliant work, which, you know, awesome. So, but I know, you know, your role at the Powerhouse Global Conference is you are going to be capturing the room. You know, I mean, that's no mean feat, because there are going to be some incredible people in that room.
Oh, absolutely. The lineup is insane, really. And, you know, most of my work, I have to say, is, you know, one-to-one and in a group situation where there's so much energy in the room. I'll use the room as my playground, which Lady Anita and I have discussed, and become the story maker. And, you know, take the opportunity to capture people individually as well. Because like I was saying about quickly being able to gain people's trust, I'm hoping at the event that there'll be opportunities where I can take someone to one side, where I can see something a little bit special about them and just capture a few images of people individually, as well as enjoying themselves as a collaboration. So like I say, my work is quite personal and one-to-one, so I'm looking forward to that side of it as well.
You're going to be sprinkling your magic fairy dust.
Yes, I'd like to think so.
I
I
think
would like
think
to,
that's, sorry.
I would like to think so, yes.
Lady Anita is saying the gathering will be electrifying, and absolutely, without a doubt. And I think that's where you will be absolutely brilliant to being able to capture those moments that actually, some of us might not even notice because actually you're so tuned into the room. And I think that's going to be amazing.
Yes, I'll just be daintily kind of gliding around and yes, capturing little magical moments. I think it's going to be very special. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, I think it's going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful, Ben. And we keep talking about it. And so for anybody who wants to join us, please scan the QR code, because we're going to have an absolute magic day. It is Thursday, the 8th of May at Surrey International Golf Course. But more details if you scan the QR code. But I mean, I suppose there's a bigger question, really, that, what we're really talking about is our personal brand, our presence in a room. And that is, I think that's becoming more and more, I mean, it's always been important, but I think it is more and more important now when we're going into a room, we are endeavoring to change hearts, minds, etc. So, that idea of presence and the way, it really is, I don't know, we talked about this, before we came on live, it really is a leadership tool, presence, and how we present our brand. Your thoughts on that? How do you bring that to life? How do you see presence as a leadership tool in the work you do?
Well, I think these days we are completely lost in a sea of images, aren't we? But the important thing to remember is there is only one you.
Yeah.
And there's a saying, isn't there? A picture paints 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So in the hands of, a skilled and sensitive photographer, a single frame can reveal the soul of the person telling their story, just with a glance, a gesture. It's like a moment frozen in time, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a picture is the message. So when I work, I very much, focus in on someone's eyes, use hands, so the pictures are quite dynamic.
Yeah.
And someone's posture, again, says a lot. So I think when you're thinking about leadership and collaboration, it's important to stand out as much as it is to blend in with your fellow collaborators. But yeah, I think that saying, I was thinking about it this morning, a picture paints 1,000 words. I thought, gosh, that really actually encompasses everything we're talking about.
And it does. And I think that's, and it summarizes really beautifully actually what you do so brilliantly, because you are bringing all of those strands together because it's not just taking a photograph, really. No. People could say, oh, well, can't you just do it like this? No, I mean, the care and consideration and, the light, the soul, as you say, that you're kind of trying to capture, and the intuition, the empathy that you need to be able to take that picture really is quite something. And that picture is 1,000 words, is capturing all of that in one image. It's kind of that, it's that perfect alchemy, isn't it? And trying to get that really beautiful sweet spot, which you do brilliantly. And I think, there's, I mean, of course, you very generously came and did the hair and makeup for my TEDx talk as well.
That's right.
Yeah. And which was another, pandemic special. And again, there's one in particular there where, I am just laughing, and I love that picture because it's just, ironically, in something I was doing recently, it was supposed to be quite a serious shot, for something I was doing for another initiative. And you can't, you've got to be serious, Laura. I was just like, but that's just not me. There is a part of me that's always smiling, and I think you have captured that in my pictures beautifully, whereas I looked somewhat ridiculous in this other image that somebody had just taken with a standard camera. And it's when you can see all of that sort of beautiful mix coming together and just captured in that moment, that picture that says 1,000 words. And that actually is one of my favorites. It's a black and white one where I'm like literally laughing like this, and it was just that moment there you caught it. And
yeah, that's you being your authentic self, isn't it, Laura? So
exactly. So I know there is going to be lots of collaboration going on the 8th between you and everyone that's in the room, and I know that you will be capturing that picture for all the brilliantly talented individuals in the room, and we're very, very lucky to have you. So I guess I'm conscious that this is meant to be a glimpse, not meant to give away the whole show, as it were. But if you were to give one piece of advice to all of those who very kindly tuning in right now or listening in later, what would you say to them about if they wanted to show up more powerfully, not to perform, but as a true reflection of the very essence of who they are? What would that be?
Well, in one sentence, I can answer this. It would be, don't be a method actor, i.e. a stereotype in the role that you play. Let your personality shine through and dare to be different.
I absolutely love that. Dare to be different. Because we need different in the world right now, no?
We do. Be outstanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Lorraine, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. I'm so excited to have you along on the 8th. And as I say, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. See you soon.
Take care.